Yay! Well, welcome everyone. My name is Sarah Pearson. I am the assistant conductor for the Symphony of Northwest Arkansas. And this is Terry Hicks. He is the SoNA Singers music director. Welcome, Terry.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so
Good.
much for coming on and joining me to be able to share with our audience ahead of time a little bit more about a Very SoNA Christmas.
You
Uh,
bet.
Yeah, so I have we're gonna kind of do this a little bit of kind of get to know you and a little bit about how to know about the program and what they can expect. So let's talk a little bit about Terry first. What first got you into music, conducting, and performing? What bit you? Like what bug bit you, or maybe it was early on in your life that happened?
It was. I was probably about 4 years old, and I remember I was sitting at the top of a staircase at our house, and my mom was playing the piano, and I just remember being totally enraptured by this story song that she was singing, and I ended up crying because I was so moved by it. And then the funny part is that it was Puff the Magic Dragon. So,
That's awesome.
but that was probably the first time I was ever moved to tears by music, and I just that moment has stuck with me ever since. So, as far as performing goes, I got the bug when I was in high school for performing from my high school drama teacher. I, uh, I I was in 10th grade and I was auditioning for a show, and I got into a show, and I fell in love with the idea of performing, and music theater was that avenue for me to want to get on stage and perform. At the at As far as conducting is concerned, Leonard Bernstein. Uh, that I remember I was in high school, and that drama teacher that I mentioned, she and her husband really got me into. He was an orchestral director, and he would be playing different pieces at the house. I would go over. A friend of mine was their son, so I was at their house a lot. I ended up calling her mom and dad, him dad. So but anyway, he was playing some music, and I was just enthralled by it. And I come to find out that it was Leonard Bernstein, and I was like, Leonard Bernstein wrote West Side Story, and he was like, yeah, and he did other stuff too, or does other stuff too. He was alive at that point, and man, yeah, I really got into the idea of conducting from Leonard Bernstein.
That's wonderful. Do you remember what your first musical was? You said it was 10th grade and it kind of the bug bit you.
Yes, it was the Pajama Game, and I was Sid Surikin.
Neat. Have you done that musical since? Like maybe with your own
No,
kids? No.
I have
Okay.
not.
Neat. Neat. I did West Side Story probably about 6 years ago. It's so an incredible musical.
Yes,
And
yes.
Lynn was amazing. Yeah. Awesome. So would you say that was probably also who inspired you to want to go into choral music? Was all of that kind of combined together, or was that later on?
That was later on. I went to Ithaca College, and I went as a music ed major
Okay.
because I wanted something to fall back on, and because I wanted to go to Broadway. That was the idea. And while I was at Ithaca, Larry Dobler was my choir director, and what an incredible conductor, and really got me into the idea that chorus is something to consider. And that was so my 4 years that I was at Ithaca. That's when I really started to turn toward chorus, and it was when I student taught my senior year, and I saw the effect that my teaching was having on a group of students, and I got the bug then.
We were just talking about before we got started with this as fellow educators, how, when you do it because you love it, and those are the reasons why,
Yeah.
there's tough days with these kiddos, but I mean, it's worth it, because of those things. Um, how would you typically describe the music that you not necessarily create? Maybe you're right. I don't know. I haven't asked you about that before, but typically the style of music that you work with, maybe whether it's at your school that you work at or with SoNA singers, what kind of repertoire do you normally work with?
I try to look for pieces that speak to me. as a conductor, and I really feel that will speak to the audience. I program music that um, has a a deep message, and that's really what I strive for. I try to get that from my singers. I try to get that uh, to the point that they are they so encompass the music that they can share that with the audience and bring the audience into this conversation.
I love that because if we have the buy-in, then it's easy to sell it to our musicians and our singers. Because if we don't believe it, then how are they going to? And that's so
Right.
true. Yeah. What is your process like? So you're talking about these pieces of music. What is your process? Do you kind of do research on it? Do you listen to all the parts? What is your process and on your end, and then teaching it to a chorus?
when I'm when I'm selecting music, I go through a lot of different methods of between conferences, music conferences, and I'm looking for inspiration there. YouTube is one of the most ubiquitous. I mean, I'm just on YouTube all the time listening to music, and so I find pieces, and then I do some research on the piece. Once I've selected the piece, I do as much research on it as I can. I play through all the parts, try to get to know the piece inside out as much as possible. And then if there's multiple recordings of the piece, I do listen to as many recordings and different people's interpretations. And as I listen to various recordings, I get my inspiration starts to flow, and I start to pull ideas, and I get in, like I said, inspiration for new ideas, and so that's kind of how it flows for me.
That's awesome. And again, that just helps you be more vested in it. So that when musicians ask you questions, you're like, oh yeah, I already know this. Um, if you could open a show for any artist, or if you could pick any piece of music, I know you're talking about Lenny was an inspiration to you, musicals. What would that be?
Um, if I could say that one more time.
So if you could pick anything, any kind of music that there was no like parameters that you had to fit in, like for whether it was for a show, for SoNA, or for, your school, if you could pick anything, what would that be?
Oh gosh. I love musicals are kind of where because it pulls in so much of everything between a pit orchestra, and it pulls in a multitude of singers. So for me, I mean, something like Les Mis is just the ultimate, and we had the opportunity to perform that a few years ago, and that was absolutely one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had.
That's interesting that you say that. That was one of my that was my first musical to conduct at our pro hall that we have in Chattanooga at the Tivoli Theater Center, and it was incredible. 6 weeks before a show, I got the conductor was unable to do the show, and we're like, "Can you take this? I need you to finish getting the orchestra together." It's like, what? So I spent 48 hours learning that whole score to take
Oh
the
my
first
gosh.
rehearsal. And
Wow.
6 weeks later, and the company was in trouble that we went with him. We kept him out of bankruptcy, and 4 sold-out shows later, and it was the most incredible experience. Yeah, so that's the bug that bit me for musicals, and I've done many since. But yeah, I that it's just like I to this day still have memories of that show.
Yeah. Yep.
And I weighed my scores. I think they were like 15 pounds. I still have them on my shelf over there.
Yes.
So
So
heavy.
heavy.
Right. And there are 2 books. And I remember trying, because it's like 3 hours of constant. And there's just not really any break
No
ever for
break.
the or the conductor or the singers. And I remember trying to balance the stand and switch books without having a break. That's really crazy. Okay, so funny tidbit. What is the most useless talent that you have?
Uh, Useless talent. Um, for me, I don't know if as if it's useless. Useless. It's just so away from what people know me as doing. So again, probably not useless, but I love leather craft. I work with leather and make wallets and purses and things like that, and it's just such a break from my normal daily experience, that it's a wonderful break.
That's awesome. I've only worked with leather once in my life. I think it was like fifth grade. They sent us home with this project to make a belt, and you could like stamp it, and you had
Oh
like the
yeah.
tools. I remember just I love the smell of fresh leather. Anyways, I just thought it was
Yep.
so cool, and you had to like stain it, but probably nothing at your level. But, but that's so neat. Now I'm gonna be like, Terry, can you make this? That's so cool. So do you sing in the shower? Is yours
From time to time, I do, and it's usually a show tune. I love
Sorry to
Sondheim,
ask you what it was. Um,
so I do
all
a
right.
lot of Sondheim in the shower.
That's awesome. Oh, that's some really incredible works there. What would you be doing right now if you were not doing music?
If I
Uh,
never got into music, I probably would be running a dairy farm right now.
really? Is that how you grew up, like
Yep.
family?
Yep. I was the first in my family to go to college, and so yeah, I that was what I was going to do up until the time I decided to go to music school.
Wow. So is home always been for you in Arkansas?
No,
Or where?
I was raised in upstate New York. Yep,
Okay.
about right on the Mohawk River Valley, so about
Okay.
4 hours or so from New York City. 5 hours.
So now does your family still have the dairy farms that happening there?
No, unfortunately,
Mhm.
my brother does. He is a dairy herdsman, so he does run a
Okay.
dairy up there now, but
All right.
we don't.
Wow. Okay. All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. That's incredible. I think, but I think our life experiences help inform us as musicians, and it brings the human condition into our music.
Yes.
And that's no different than what we're getting ready to do here for SoNA Christmas, because every one of the songs that the SoNA singers has that thought process. So I want to start with the beginning of our program. The program opens with "Oh Come All Ye Faithful." SoNA singer sings that by John Rutter. Do you want to talk just a little bit about that piece?
We've done this piece for so many years, and it has never gotten old. It is just it's a standby, but not only that, it's incredibly well written, and the everything. I mean, you have the majesty of the full orchestra, and then the chorus joins, and then there's even an a cappella verse. So you get everything as for the audience right at the get go of the performance. So I love the piece so much.
So well written, and John Rutter is incredible anyways, but I would agree there really is something for everyone there. So if you like full orchestra, you're going to get that, like the fanfare opening with
Yep.
just the brass is so just powerful, and then the acapellas, and then just the powerful ending. Yeah,
Yes.
it's incredible. And John Rutter is an incredible writer, and just
Yes.
all of that together. And then our next piece, we step back in time, right? We go to Handel's Messiah, the next piece that the choir is singing. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, the Hallelujah chorus?
Oh, the Hallelujah chorus, I mean, again, yet an even older standby. And it's for me, I just love the sheer power that comes from the Hallelujah chorus. I love how it lets the singers sing, and working on trying to get the chorus to work on the correct syllabic stress so that the text and every phrase comes to life. It's just it again. It's one that just doesn't get old. You pull it out every year, and it's just waiting for you to be embraced again. The Hallelujah chorus is amazing.
Hey, so Terry, you were talking about the stresses, right, on how to enunciate and things come out. So some of our audience may not know anything we were just talking about, the that's Greek to me kind of thing. But could you tell them just a little bit about what you're talking about there so
One of
that they
the one of the
oh,
most common I'll say misinterpretations is to attack the ha of hallelujah when the actual word is hallelujah, and the stress should come on the lu, and to really get the singers to pull on the correct syllable. Hallelujah. It just pulls. You can tell that that's how Handel had it in his mind, and then once you start pulling that way, then the next phrase makes sense as well. I mean, so, and again, so you're pulling toward the most important syllable or the most important word of a phrase, and it just really helps with the interpretation of the line.
Yeah, it gives it a forward motion because music is always
Yes.
moving forward. It has a buoyancy to it and it gives it the life that it needs. And that's awesome. And so I thought that would be really interesting for everyone to know that if they're not musicians, they'll be like, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about. So now when they come, they're gonna be checking to see if they do it right.
Hope so. Hopefully they do.
Yeah, they're gonna be great. And you're doing a new piece. Susan LeBar, actually an old friend of mine from grad school days. I was talking with Terry previously. Her husband and I worked together. He was on the choral side and I was on the orchestral. But Midwinter Song. Do you want to tell us a little
Yes.
bit about this?
Susan LeBar is an absolutely wonderful composer, and she came out with this, I think, 2 years ago. And when I was asked to choose a piece for the SoNA Singers this year, I went straight to Susan LeBar. And this piece, I wanted to do this piece for a while, and it's on the easier side, but it is absolutely stunning. The way that she writes her phrasing, and it pulls on the concept of the winter time and not so much on the holiday. But what it does is halfway through, it really does pull you back to the idea of what the holiday is about.
Mm. Yeah, I've did some research on it to myself, and it's just so powerful, the
Yeah.
simplicity of it, but yet it focuses on all the right things in the piece. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the chorus. Have they've enjoyed working on it so far? I'm
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
What
again,
was the first time
sim-
putting it together like?
yeah, it's just simply beautiful.
Mhm. I bet. And then Silent Night, one we've done before, but you want to speak a little bit about this one? I think sometimes things that are so familiar can become very, not mundane, but we have to
Right.
really work on keeping the sparkle to it.
Yeah, for us, Silent Night with the symphony introduction, it just works. It pulls all the way to the singing. You can tell that um, when it was composed, that they're giving honor to the melody and how beautiful the melody is and the harmony, and then you just want to hear the song, and then you finally get to hear the song, and the arrival of the text is again just satisfying.
Mhm. Yeah, and again, this being a very SoNA Christmas, some people there's expectations that when they come to that show, they're like, these are standards, and we want to hear these, and
Yes,
they're so excited that we're doing this piece. And then we end with a fanfare to Joy to the World, correct?
yes. And that one, let me tell you, that one is a workhorse.
Really?
Wow. It has a lot of what we call mixed meter. So once you kind of feel something going on, the meter changes, so it kind of jerks your attention, and then the huge chorus moments that are in it are just so powerful. And the ending, oh my gosh, I just love how the ending is pulled, and we slow down and we just let the sound just fly into the room. Oh, it's wonderful.
It's like those moments that the air kind of sucks out of the room and it just like it's all we call those like the chills. Like you just like you can feel it in your spine and it just is incredible. And as we're getting ready to perform this, we get two opportunities for all of our friends and our guests there in Arkansas or those that are traveling. What would you say to them as they're preparing to come or sharing this invite out with friends?
I would say, definitely for the to celebrate the season, make an entire evening of it. Plan on coming in. I mean, get dinner before, or go to the 2 o'clock and get dinner after. Just really soak up the season, because this music that we're performing all the way through, and with the inspirational chorale coming from the University of Arkansas, it is just absolutely going to be an entire evening. Make an entire day out of it.
Yeah, and I always feel like this is like our gift back to the
Yes.
community. It's like truly something for everyone. It's like going to an ice cream shop and there's like a gazillion toppings. Like there's going to be something for everyone.
Yes.
If you don't like there's going to be something down the line that you're going to like. Yeah, and if they go to our Inside the Music, you'll also find a list of local eateries and places to stay. So we kind of make it easy for you if you're like, wow, that's a really great idea, Terry. I'm going to go get dinner before or after, make a day of it. Yeah. Well, we're so excited about this, and thank you for giving your time to get together and be able to talk about this program. We're so excited, and for all the time that you invest into SoNA singers, they are just incredible. I love being able to hear them, and they'll be back with us in January as well.
Yes. Yep.
Exciting programs coming up for January.
That's that one is a beast in itself. Chichester Psalms. It's
Yeah,
going to be incredible.
yeah. I'm
I
so
got
excited.
Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah, right. See, good to do that one. Well, thank you so much, Terry. And we're gonna stop for now, but we can't wait to see everyone come together as we perform a Very SoNA Christmas on Saturday, December 10th at 2 p.m. and at 7:30 p.m. at the Walton Arts Center there in
Yes.
Arkansas. So thank you so much, Terry, and everyone else. We will see you soon. Have a
Yes.
good night.
Good night.
Bye.